Hello, good evening. Welcome to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studio here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. Also live on our numerous affiliates across the country. Streaming live on 3news.com as well. Coming up this evening, Occupy Julobi protesters clash with pro-government supporters at the UK High Commission in London as they demand more from the Ghanaian government. The UK High Commissioner, meanwhile, refused to meet the demonstrators. We'll get details for you shortly. Well, still on protest, the minority in Parliament say they will not be cowed by the police attempt to injunct the October 3 Occupy BOG demonstration. And so a wave of protest. Stay with us here on Hot Edition as we delve deeper into it. We have business as well as sport and entertainment if you stay with us a lot while on this evening's edition of the Bulletin. A pleasure that you could be a part of this evening's bulletin. Is streaming live on Facebook, 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter as well, 3FM 927. Leave a message for us on our various social media handles, the stories that we've been bringing to you this evening. A lot later, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice as well is questioning the delay in assenting to the anti-witchcraft bill into law. One of the many things that we'll be looking at if you stay with us here on Hot Edition. But let's take you to London because the demand for good governance and accountability spurred on by the Occupy Julobi protests hits the city of London this morning all through to the afternoon. Some Ghanaians based in the UK rallied support to picket at Ghana's High Commission in continuation of the three-day protest witnessed back home here in Accra. The attempt, however, to picket at the High Commission will be scuttled when pro-government supporters gathered in front of the Commission to project what they believe is the government's outstanding stewardship. This is what ensued when both parties met at the premises of the High Commission.
Instead of you to listen, to the people, you rather want to fight the people. Instead of you to listen to the people, you want to fight the people.
So, the back and forth exchanges of words, people being described as not Ghanaians. That's the position which was taken by the pro-government group, a group who have been identified later on as members of the governing New Patriotic Party. Well, after the long stalemates, the Julobi protesters sought audience with the Ghana Commissioner to the UK, Papa Uswan Koma, but he will not give them a listening ear.
You didn't hear us. We came to air our grievances, but you've not heard us. Hello, sir. Can you listen to us, please? Can you listen to us, please, sir?
You don't need to have any requests.
You didn't listen to us, please, sir.
I've sat down with you before.
Sir, you've not listening to us. You've not listened to us. You're going through the back door. You're going through the back door. We're going through the back door.
You're going somewhere, so you still don't have time for your citizens.
Your citizens are here to address you. You are literally leaving. You are leaving. You are leaving. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Don't sit down. Sir, talk to us. Sir, we came to meet you. Sir, talk to us before you leave. This is not right. We came to meet you. This is not right. We came to meet you. The High Commissioner, you are not leaving. You are leaving through the back door. You are leaving through the back door.
This is what you guys are doing. You should be ashamed.
You are leaving through the back door. This is not right. No, this is not right. We deserve better. Look at how she's leaving. Everybody, look at how he's leaving. They don't care about you. 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 They don't care about you.
And so, exactly what it is that happened, and that video will be live on our Facebook handle as well for you to be able to monitor and see for yourself. But let's connect with the convener of the protesters in the UK, Kobe Oforis. Join us via Zoom this evening for a conversation. Many thanks, sir, for speaking to us this evening here on Hot Edition.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. We went to the Ghana High Commission today to lend our voices to the people in Ghana in support of the hardship conditions and the Jilobi protests that we're currently seeing. Unfortunately for us, we went and we weren't heard. We were rather met by sympathizers of the MPP who wanted to portray the achievements of the government. And unfortunately for us as well, we saw the Ghana High Commissioner living through the back door, not addressing the protesters who came there peacefully to picket, and rather chose to walk to his car. Even when we were trying to get him to talk to us, he ignored us, as we played from the video over there. And that was literally my voice. And unfortunately, we didn't get any feedback. We would have wished that we would have been given a listening ear, that the government will listen to us. Because we also believe that, look, we in the diaspora add a lot to Ghana. Our remittances, we've got families back home. So whatever is happening in Ghana concerns us. We are not oblivious to all the issues and hardship conditions. But surprisingly, you will be shocked that we were referred to as Togolese people.
I'll come to that, but I want us to go back a bit as to how all of this came about, your decision to want to picket, in terms of the numbers as well, what it looked like. But let's start off with why. You've mentioned that you remit to Ghana and you've always had interest in Ghana, but what was it that spurred you on to try and gather fellow Ghanaians in the UK? A lot of people watching will say, you're there to make money.
Like I said, we have very deep connections with Ghana because, first of all, we are Ghanaians. I, for one, I am a member of the NPP, right? And for me to come out to even say my truth, that should let you know that, look, there's a lot at stake. We believe that the government, we see all the economic indicators, we see all the inflation in budgets, we see all the budget allocations that is never accounted for. We see our sports stadiums in disrepair, our Black Stars that we love so much cannot even play safely, sanitation crisis, leadership problems. And we cannot sit and say, look, because we live in diaspora, we could care less and say, look, we're not even going to come forward. But everything that is happening in Ghana concerns us as well, because we've got families. At the end of the day, we're going to come to Ghana when we all retire. And some of us have also got businesses in Ghana. So if we are stakeholders in the inflation rate that we're currently seeing is almost around 43%, right? That means that the cost of borrowing is high. We can't even get stakeholders or investors to come to Ghana to invest because they look at the inflation rate and say, look, whatever return we're going to get from you should be more than the inflation rate, because they don't want to run at a loss. It's affecting so many things. So it is time for us to have an extensive dialogue, an extensive conversation to shine the light on the problems, the bread and butter issues that the people are facing. And that is why we went to the Ghana High Commission. It was a peaceful protest organized by UK citizens, mainly advertised on Twitter, and well-wishers, people that I personally didn't know, made their way, some from Manchester, some from Nottingham. Manchester's like 3 hours on the train to get to London. And you have to, in UK, you can't just wake up and just go and protest. You need to book annual leave. Some of us booked annual leaves because that means that we've missed a day's job. This means so much to us. That's like almost £200 missed in a day to come and stand here and protest. And yet, we were not even listened to. We were not heard. We were tagged as Togolese people.
Which is something I was coming to. When you met the pro-government group, there were taunts at some of you, the description that you're not Ghanaians, and that if you were Ghanaians, you would not come up to embarrass the nation in the manner in which you were doing. How did you take that when you saw fellow Ghanaians tell you that?
To be honest, a lot of us were, a lot of the colleagues who came around, and they were so hurt to hear these words coming out from our elders, our senior citizens, people that we believe should know better, that if we have concerns, which is our legal right to come and protest, you address us as foreigners, as non-citizens. Some of us are speaking Tree. We are Ghanaians. Like, we don't have anywhere to go. We've only got Ghana. So instead of you to open up and listen to us, you rather tag us as foreigners. And onlookers, the white people were just sat there and just like, wow, we're shocked. This is what's really happening. A lot of people are following what is going on in Ghana, people on the streets. And we just want to tell the government that, look, the political parties are not helping Ghana. MPP, NDC, they're both failed Ghana. It's come to a point where we need to call a spade a spade. All investors and stakeholders, whether you are Peace Council, whether you stand for the labor groups, whichever group you belong to, we believe that this is the time that you need to stand up and be heard and be counted, because every voice will make a difference. And if we all give up on Ghana, like a lot of people are saying, why are we in the streets? We could have written a letter or something and sent it to an email. But who hears you? We are even here. We came physically to see them. They didn't even see us. How much more later they will probably get like maybe 4 or 5 months before you hear something back, and the momentum will die.
Right.
We are young people. We do things differently. We want to see results. We want to see our country working for us. We want to see the housing deficit about 1.8 million that we always tout, and it's like we embracing it. 1.8 million people are without shelter. We should be doing something about it to solve these hardship issues, right? But we want to, political parties rather want to break the 8 than focus on bread and butter issues that are concerning to Ghanaians. People cannot afford 3 square meals a day. And on the news currently, right, there was a diasporan lady who came to Ghana, I think Accra, Kumasi Road, and she unfortunately lost her life because of bad roads. How many people have we lost on Accra Kumasi roads? Why are the roads still not fixed? Who is doing the quality assurance? You can do roads. Look, I live in UK. When they do the roads,
right,
you can see your taxis working for you.
In
Ghana,
you don't seem to see that. You had wanted to meet the High Commissioner. Was there a specific message you would have loved to deliver to him, the Honorable Papo Swankuma?
Yes, we had a message, and our message was very simple. We wanted to have a huddle. We wanted to have a dialogue. We wanted to have an open discussion, because we believe that the High Commission is well-resourced. They have secretaries working for them. They have PAs. They have all these people at their beck and call. We only came as consensus to meet them and for them to listen to us, put our grievances together, and let's form a working group so that we can address the issues that we have raised on health, on education, on infrastructure, on job for the people, job for the youth, so that we will change the unemployment situation in Ghana, and people will be happy. All of us living in the diaspora want to come back as well. At a point, we're all going to be in Ghana. And this 30th December is just around the corner. Diasporans will be flooding in Ghana. And look, let me tell you something. This Occupy Julobi House protest that you see is even being spearheaded a lot by diasporans. When you check the Twitter handle, these are diasporans who are
seeking to make a difference back home,
who are sharing the information. And tomorrow in Washington, there's another protest happening. Ghanaians abroad are waking up. We want to support our people, and we will not relent until we are ahead.
Mr.
We will not be threatened,
right.
We will not be silent.
I appreciate that you could make time and speak to us this evening here on Hot Edition.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That's Kobe Ofori. He's a convener of the protesters in the city of London, and we've been hearing from him. We'll connect again with one other individual, Chelsea as well. She was also at the protest ground and pick thoughts from her as to exactly what it is that transpired. Chelsea, if you can unmute for me and tell us from where you came from to be in London to be a part of the protest today.
Me.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was just checking if you could hear me clearly.
Yes, I can now.
Okay, perfect. I live in London, so I didn't really have to travel far. Just took a short distance to get to the protest grounds.
Right. We want to thank you as well for some of the video footage, as well as you, Ms. Ofori, the video footages you provided us from the protest grounds today. You were there, you live in London, you obviously have
Yes.
relations back home in Ghana. What was it for you that moved you onto the streets of London today when possibly you could be making some good quid for yourself?
So, I've lived in Ghana all my life up until 2 years ago when I moved here. And for me, my entire family is in Ghana, and I understand how terribly we are doing as a country. I go home very often, so I am in touch with the hardships that is ongoing in the country. And regarding transportation, healthcare systems, transportation, especially based off where I live in Kaswa in Ghana. So I know what happens when it rains and one of the lanes has to be blocked. There's a stretch of road that takes 10 minutes for people to use, but whenever it rains, it can take you up to 2 hours to go through it. I've been there, so I understand. That is what drove me, because realistically, if my country was working the way it should work, I would not be here. I would be at home.
You'll be back home. But you were there. You witnessed another group take over the precinct, if I can call it that, of the UK High Commission. There were taunts at you and the likes. How did that make you feel?
Not that they took over. When we got there, they had already set up fence. And to be honest, I don't think we were fazed. None of us were fazed. There was only one person who was fazed because some of the disruptors could identify him. They were threatening to take away his little brother's government scholarship from him for protesting against the current government, if you would call it. So that was it. Most of us were.
There were
not
threats on some of the
individuals
individuals who decided to be a part of the protest?
Yes, there were threats from the disruptors. We heard from some of them that they were members of the MPP. That's what some of them said. So, yeah, they could recognize him, and they said, why is he protesting against the government that gave his little brother a scholarship? Meaning, as someone who has received something from the government, if something is not going on well, you cannot speak up. You just cannot speak up for yourself. Yeah.
You weren't able to get audience with the UK High Commissioner. We understand that there are a series of protests being planned elsewhere. Is this something that you want to be a part of again, considering the reasons to which drove you onto the street?
Definitely. And it was sad that we weren't able to be addressed by the High Commissioner. We were told by someone who works in the High Commission that the High Commissioner knew we were coming, but was expecting us to have sent an official email for our petition. So regardless of whether we have the physical petition with us waiting for him to come out, he wasn't going to come out. And this goes against what he is there for. He's there to serve our needs. So regardless of whether we have sent him an email or not, he should have at least stepped outside to hear us out. But he didn't.
Right then. Chelsea, I appreciate you as well for providing a bit more nuance to the conversation. And so two individuals were both a part of the protest in London today. They describe the pro-government group as disruptors who didn't allow them to be able to fruitfully carry out what it is that they intended. But they believe that in one way or form, the planned action would have achieved some results. They tried to get few words from the UK High Commissioner Papa Usuankuma when he was leaving the premises, but like you heard, which videos of which will be made available already on social media, TV3, Ghana, 3FM as well, you see that they didn't get the audience that they wanted. And so pressure continues to pile up on the Ghanaian government over the current economic challenges. And another of such is a planned protest on Tuesday by the minority here in Ghana. And they say they will not be cowed in by the police's attempt to place an injunction on the October 3 Occupy BOG demonstration. The police failed to prove service of an injunction on the organizers in court on Friday, paving the way for the Arise Ghana demonstration to take place. Minority Chief Whip Kwame Govins-Agbodza says the police cannot be arbitrary in its dealings with the NDC MPs.
We have had further discussions with the police, and the police officially wrote to us confirming that Tuesday is the day they are ready to let us do the demonstration, and the route has been approved. But all of a sudden we hear the police in bad faith attempting to resurrect an issue which does not exist. So I'm happy the court threw their case away today. What is our readiness? We are very much ready. We have been having our community engagements and across the country to let the people know the reason they must demonstrate.
That's Kwame Govins-Agbodza, and providing a bit more details and saying that they will not be cowed into submission. They'll continue and be on the streets on Tuesday. It remains to be seen what the next level from the police will be. Remember, Shraj has issued or written an open letter to the Inspector General of Police over the nature to which they go about in policing protests in the country. And so that readily still is in mind for a lot of us who are monitoring the scene. Still hot edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter as well, 3FM 927. I mentioned Shraj. Well, they've not just been openly writing to officials of the Ghana Police Service. They've had choice words as well for the President. And the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice says it is discomforting that 2 months after Parliament passed the anti-witchcraft bill, the President is yet to assent to the bill into law. Commissioner of Shraj Joseph Whittal says the lag emboldens wrongdoing against victims and other vulnerable groups. Parliament in July approved the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022, which seeks to prohibit any person from practicing as a witch doctor or witch finder to protect people accused of witchcraft. The bill, among others, aims to criminalize the declaration, accusation, naming, or labeling of another person as a witch in Ghana. But 2 months on, the President is yet to assent to the bill. Commissioner Joseph Whittal says the delay does not send a good signal.
And other civil society groups being able to at least get a bill that has been passed by Parliament, and we're putting pressure on the President to sign it into law so that that bill will become the advocacy tool to drive down the practice that is affecting elderly women accused of being witches, and as a result, at the end of receiving violence against women. And so that is another thing that we are working on. You see that I'm dealing with vulnerable groups, because when it comes to human rights promotion and protection, the rich can take care of themselves because the costs are dead. But you can't talk about the vulnerable. So the Commission has a duty to reach out and to get the state, the protective arm of the state, to extend to them. We've used the opportunity of a program we've done in the Northern Belt to signal the President that any day that is delayed in the signing into law of this bill It's a day that leads to the torture of elderly women. And as of last week, one more woman has been killed, like Ekuya Dente. So let me use the opportunity again to express our sincere, I would say, discomfort with a delay in signing of the bill by the president, and to encourage him to do so as soon as possible, because lives are at stake. That is very important.
That's Commissioner of Shraj Joseph Whittal, and his comment is coming after the police declared a manhunt for two siblings who allegedly killed a 60-year-old woman over witchcraft accusation at Janga in the West Mamprusi municipality in the Northeast region. And so another person has been killed. Professor John Azuma is executive director for the Sani Institute, one of the CSOs that supported the passage of the anti-witchcraft accusation bill. It's been barely 2 months, Prof, since Parliament passed the amendments. No action from the president. It's been described as worrying by the Commission on Human Rights Administrative Justice. I wonder what your thoughts are as to this delay.
Yes, I couldn't agree more with the commissioner that the situation as it is now is deeply worrying, because under normal circumstances, the bill should have been sent to the presidency within 2 weeks of it being passed at the House. And it's well over 2 weeks now, as we know, 27th July. We are now in October almost, and the bill is still at the Parliament. So we don't know what is happening, but we want to call on the office of the Speaker of Parliament and the Clerk of Parliament to expedite whatever action needs to be expedited and to get the bill to the President's desk for him to assent to the bill. While we are waiting, people are being killed. Innocent women are being gunned down, merely on suspicion. This old lady was killed at Janga, not because even that she had bewitched somebody, but on suspicion that she was going to bewitch somebody. Now, if we allow these kinds of beliefs, everybody is at risk, especially vulnerable older women. And the president, as a lawyer, as a human rights activist himself, should take steps to call for the bill and to pass it and to sign it into law.
What in your estimation could possibly be the reason why we've seen this delay? Because it's been hailed by everybody. Human rights groups have hailed it. Different perspectives have come as to how from here on. I recall we speaking to you and you making the point that from here on, we can begin to, within the next 2 years, disband these witch camps because they serve as a stark reminder of such inhumane treatment of fellow humans. What possibly, in your estimation, could be accounting for this delay that we're seeing?
Yes, and what we have picked up, as you can imagine, we have been calling on the parliamentarians who worked on the bill to follow up and to know what is happening. And what we have picked up from some of our conversations with some of the parliamentarians is that a group of pastors who are into deliverance ministry have been calling and trying every possible way to kind of put a stop to the bill from getting to the presidency.
Pastors?
Pastors. And that is what we are hearing, that these pastors are involved in deliverance ministry. And that's what they do for business, is deliverance ministry. And a lot of this, and I'm speaking as a pastor myself, this is a belief that has dehumanized, demonized, and cost the lives of vulnerable people, not to talk about the livelihood and the reputation and the stigma that people have to live with for generations. And yet some pastors, some so-called men of God, will be able to stand up and make telephone calls to prevent the bill from getting to the presidency. And we also understand a leading member of the House of Parliament has called for the bill to be halted because he wants to propose some amendment. The bill that was passed unanimously at the Parliament, bipartisan bill, and you, a leader, a key member of Parliament, you are calling for that bill to be held up so that you can propose some amendment. The question is, why should that be the situation now? It is all delayed practice. It is all because there are some powerful lobby groups behind the scene who are trying to use some big shots in Parliament to delay the process. That is our suspicion, but these are still faceless and nameless, and as soon as we get their names, we will name them and shame them publicly for Ghanaian public to know who these people are.
While all of this that you're laying bare to us continues, individuals are losing their lives, and it appears that, if anything, the Kiadenta case took quite a while until the courts were able to make pronouncement on exactly what it is. What will be the expectation of Parliament now that yet another person has been gunned down? What will be the expectation on them amidst these faceless individuals that you speak of?
Yes, and that is the problem, because you see, the longer the bill is being delayed, the more these incidents will come up. Look, when the bill was passed and it was announced on the media, it already had an effect on the ground. And people were talking about it, and people were getting concerned and getting afraid and not wanting to accuse people. But as soon as they got to know that the bill is not yet a law, it has not been signed and all of that, it kind of took off the pressure. And for me, passing the law will not stop these murders. It will not stop the killing immediately.
Then
but
what will?
It will be a tool. Education will. Education will. Because we have laws against capital, we have laws against murder. People still kill. We have got laws against stealing and robbery. People still rob and kill and steal. So these things, we are realistic. But it is a powerful statement to make a nation. That Ghana as a country, Ghana as a nation is part of the civilized world, and we have not tolerated these kinds of barbaric acts of violence against vulnerable people. That is a powerful statement for Ghana to make. That is a powerful statement for the president to send that message to Ghanaians and to the international community as a lawyer, as a human rights activist himself.
Right then, Prof, I appreciate that you could speak to us this evening and provide what is new info as regards why we're not seeing this bill be assented to by the president. But certainly a conversation that we will continue to hold and come to you for a lot more perspective on, particularly on the subject of naming and shaming the said individuals who are possibly holding back the assent to the bill.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's Professor Azuma, is the executive director for the Sani Institute, speaking to us this evening. We're hoping to speak to Medina MP Francis Xavier Susu as well. He's joined us on the telephone line this evening for a conversation. Many thanks, sir, for speaking to us this evening here on Hot Edition. So, nearly 2 months since you led processes through to the amendment of the Criminal and Other Offences Act, and yet no assent by the president, and another person has been gunned down in the northern part of the country.
Honestly, it's quite a disappointing situation right now, because any day someone gets killed on account of witchcraft accusation, it feels really terrible, because that is the very essence of the law. And until we have the assent, and everyone knows that you don't have the right to accuse another person of witchcraft. and go ahead to, kind of subject them to all kinds of treatment, including killing them. It would continue. And I think law is a tool for social engineering. The essence of that law is actually to change the way people think about these matters. So I'm just really hopeful that sooner than later, the president will do the assent for us to have a law that we cannot rely on to prosecute people who do that.
You're in Parliament. It was an overwhelming decision to have this passed. Is there an explanation as to why it's not been taken to the president for assent?
Honestly, I wouldn't know. I have sought to find out, but I haven't gotten any information on that. And I think that maybe if you probably reach out to the public relations office of Parliament, or maybe speak to the clerk to Parliament or something, you probably may get some answers as to why the bill has not
more than you, who is in Parliament, wielding all the authority to be able to get the responses from leadership.
Well, I think that when a bill is passed, it's the clerk to Parliament that sends it to the president. So exactly why it hasn't been sent, I can't tell. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get that information since.
We've been speaking to the executive director of the Sani Institute, who says that they are picking intelligence, and these are his words, not mine, that some pastors who are engaged in deliverance service have been consulting from behind and seeking to hold the assent of the bill for amendment to be made to that which has already been approved by Parliament. Does this surprise you? This latest that's coming from an institute that's been fighting this witchcraft accusation as well.
Well, I won't completely discount that, because right after the bill was passed, several pastors and others who said they were in deliverance ministry, others reached out and was expressing their frustration. And I told them that I think they didn't understand the content of the bill. And that if you did not understand the bill, you could always invite us, and we could, take your church or your Bible school through the bill, so you can understand that this bill has nothing to do with the practice of your religion, except that as the Constitution makes it very clear in Article 26, any form of belief, religion, practice, your ritual that is injurious to any individual would be proscribed. And that's exactly what has been done by this bill. And so I won't discount if there are any lobbies behind doing some work, except that I cannot confirm or deny any of that, except that I know once the bill gets passed, it should have moved to the presidency by now. But it's obvious that the bill is not at the presidency. So Parliament definitely would have to be answering as to why the bill has not moved from the office of the clerk to the presidency. And so I think that is something I would be interested in trying to find out in Parliament, but you can also do that.
We're certainly going to be reaching out to the Public Relations Officer of Parliament, Madam Kate Addo, to get some details, but perhaps you already answered the question that I was going to ask. You led everything. Is this something you're going to be pushing for to get answers to?
Honestly, I will. I intend filing, very formal processes to ascertain what is happening. Maybe send a formal petition to the office of the Speaker and know exactly what is happening with this, because we are talking about human life. And I don't know how much value we place on people who are killed. I don't know how much value we place on the life of these elderly women who are very, very vulnerable in society. And really, if we who have been given mandates to protect vulnerable people in the society are unable to do that, then really we are failing on our job. And so, honestly, I'm really, really interested in interrogating this further, because anytime someone passes away, I always get back this call. This is not the first time. I think since the passing of this bill, this might have been the third time that another elderly woman has been killed on account of witchcraft accusation. And I don't think this is how a society must be built.
Honorable, I appreciate that you could speak to us. Certainly, it's something that will be coming back to you on in relation to the conversation on witchcraft and ending the accusations surrounding it.
Thank you, sir.
That's the Honourable Francis Xavier Susu speaking to us this evening. He's Member of Parliament for Medina. He led the Private Members Bill, which saw the amendment to the Criminal and Other Offences Act, the Amendment Bill 2022, which has been passed, but yet to be assented to by Parliament. You're so listening to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter as well, 3FM 927. Our top stories we've been bringing to you the last 42 minutes here on 3FM 92.7. Occupy Julobi protesters, they've been clashing with the pro-government support group in London when they sought to picket at the UK High Commission. We've heard from the convener and another individual were all present today. Unfortunately, attempts to try and get the pro-supporters as well has proven futile. And we've been hearing from the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Charge. We've been questioning the delay in assenting to the anti-witchcraft bill. Professor Azuma with the Sani Institute claims that they are faceless individuals, pastors who are seeking to have the bill brought back before the plenary for certain amendments to be made, but the sponsor of the amendment, Francis Xavier Susu, says it is something that worries him. He's sought to find responses, hasn't got any, but he'll be pushing to get responses on this particular subject matter. To other matters, and the Ghana National Fire Service says it suspects built-up pressure in the gas pipeline as cause of the Friday morning's fire near the Tema Oil Refinery. A gas booster station, Quantum Gas, near the Tema Oil Refinery's pipeline caught fire earlier today. Reports indicate that the company was transferring gas from vessels at the port to the booster. Managers of the refinery say no damage has been recorded. Meanwhile, the fire service says companies are shut down as a result of the fire can resume operations. And we'll get that sound clipping of the fire authorities a lot later. But the president is back in the country. He's been speaking at the Ojira Festival, Ojira Festival, apologies for that mix-up, Ojira Festival, where he says he's hopeful that the chieftaincy ministry will work to bring lasting peace to the Ikuapem traditional area.
Nana Akwesi Akufo, Autoso Miensa, Kwapehe, Nananum, Adolting, Nifa, Benkum, Kronti, Rijase, Adrianum, Meniadze Papa, Meniadze Papa, Sene, Yamehui, no Yakuboso, and Chimamamia, or dear Mama Kamo. No Quapim say, a Quapim for fraud, any Yehunane, when Yakupo, a Shasomano. The woman, I'm a maniac, and it's in Cabo Money, Seven Quapimano, and then who said, Abba. And you fall in your hour. Lusa kakaka na kakaru the minister asamwabwate asabi oye huejuma.
That's the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, there providing. He's been speaking in Chi, expressed excitement with being there and the unity that it is that he has witnessed in the area as well, amongst other things, and said that there's a few bit that's left to be done. One, that he's hoping that the chieftaincy minister, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, can resolve peacefully to allow lasting peace in the area. Business is coming up shortly if you stay with us here on Hot Edition. Michael Ogbodu is here with the very latest from the world of business. Mike, good evening.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. Now, banking consultant Dr. Eric Mawuena has blamed government for the increasing level of non-performing loans of banks. He noted banks have been greatly exposed directly and indirectly to government activities. Bank of Ghana's latest summary of economic and financial data revealed that non-performing loans at 19.1% compared to 14% on November last year. This, the expert has deemed worrying.
Government is the biggest employer in this country, unlike maybe Nigeria, where the private sector plays a lot. And you know, government has financed contractors. Let me give you the recent happening. The food suppliers to the food buffer stock or whatever you call them. It took some of them 2 years to get their money back. And in the banks, if a loan stays more than 90 days, we downgrade it to all them. Unless otherwise specially mentioned. If it stays more than 180, we downgrade it to doubtful. If it stays more than that, we go to losses. And when it is losses, we write them off. And all these things would impact on the non-performing. That is why I'm saying that if government has paid the contractors, road contractors, food contractors, all service providers who have taken loans from the banks to do their business, we will not have experienced these higher non-performing. Having we had the problem with the debt restructuring, which has brought a service, the non-performing too continues would have impact on the solvency of the financial institution, including the microfinances, including the savings, including the rural bank, including the universal banks. Because we have a standard, Bank of Ghana gives us a standard where loans are properly assessed quarterly.
That was banking consultant Dr. Richmond Ituahene speaking there. Now, Fair Trade Africa says it expects to see a significant decline in child labor cases with the increase in the price of cocoa in the country. President Akufo-Addo announced earlier this month that the price of a bag of cocoa has been increased from 800 cedis to 1,308 cedis for the 2023-2024 crop season. Head of Region for Fair Trade West Africa Network, Edward Akapire, however, urged the government to address all other bottlenecks to reduce the menace to the barest minimum.
One of the causes of child labor has been understood to be the fact that farmers resort to child labor as a cheaper means of labor. So for us at Fair Trade, we have always made the case that a key approach to addressing the issue of child labor is through prices, right? So we are very happy that the government has taken the initiative to adjust the prices positively upwards to ensure that farmers are able to cover their cost of production, which includes cost of sustainable production. Part of it is also about ensuring that children are not engaged as labor. So we believe that an improved price should certainly translate into a reduction to some extent in the engagement of children on cocoa farms. But that alone is not sufficient. I mean, there are other causes of child labor, issues of infrastructure, access to education, issues of ensuring that even parents are aware that children and making sure their kids are in school very mandatory. So
Head of Region 4 Fair Trade West Africa Network, Edward Akapire there. Now, away from that, Managing Director of Sevaco PSS, Rudolph Mate, says the volatility of exchange rate has affected pricing within the mining sector. According to him, the situation makes it difficult for industry players to make projections, which is essential for the mining business. He spoke on the sidelines of the launch of the 25th anniversary of Sevaco PPS.
The main impact has been in terms of acquisition of foreign currency, in terms of our importation, because the exchange rate is not too stable, it affects our pricing for our customers. Our customers within the mining industry wants to, predict in terms of the pricings that they will be paying for their services. And the exchange rate is not helping the situation for us. And for us, we want to move away from the importation to setting up a manufacturing facility over here so that we can take control over the business that the mining companies or the mining sector provides for us, as a business.
That was Managing Director of Sevaco PSS, Rodolphe Mate, ending business segment here on Hot Edition.
Right then, many thanks, Mike, for bringing us the very latest from the world of business. Calvin Owusu is here next with sport. A busy weekend for football lovers. Santi Kotoko and the likes are all in the game. Ogum has been speaking. What has he been saying?
Well, things are getting much more difficult for him, and he hopes that he turns things around. But let's start from the first game of March week 3 of the 2023 Ghana Premier League. And Brecum Chelsea settled for a 1-0 draw against Accra Lions at the Golden City Park. Meshaka Free equalized in the 65th minute. The goal that was scored by Bernard Kessie in the 10th minute. So it meant that game ended in a draw. Tomorrow, Bofokwa Town will play against Hatofuk, and on Sunday, Great Olympics against Gold Stars, Legon Cities against Adriana, Samatex welcome Bichim United, RTU against Heart of Lions, Asante Kotoko at home to Karela United, and then on Wednesday, Dreams FC against Nswatraman and Medium FC against Nations FC. But let's have a quick listen to Asante Kotoko coach Prosper Natiogum, who hopes things will get better soon with the Porcupines.
The main impact has been in terms of acquisition of foreign currency, in terms of our importation. And
it's a process. We are building a new team. We are building a team that can compete at any level. And building a team that can compete at any level, you need some patience, you need some time to be able to do that. I know the club I'm coaching is all about result. But the results will come if we do the right things from the beginning. And to me, as a technical staff and the Palace and the IMC, we are doing the right thing by trying to make sure that we build a formidable team. So they have to be patient. They should look at the positives in the game. I mean, apart from the results at the end of the match, they should sit down and look at the positives.
So that is the Asante Kotoko coach Prosper Natiogum. Now to the CAF Champions League, and Mediama SC will playing against Horoya AC at the GLC Nongo Stadium at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Mediama already lead by 3-1, and here is what coach Augustin Evans Adote has to say ahead of that big clash.
A win tomorrow will prove why Mediama is representing Ghana, and a draw will automatically qualify my team to the next stage. So come tomorrow, I want to make sure I keep clean sheet, just to get the game make the game mere formality. That is my message to the Guineans.
So that is the message from Augustin Evans Adote. Now to the Spanish La Liga, but let's not forget that Dreams FC would also be playing against FC Carlon from Sierra Leone. Dreams lead 2-1 from the first leg. Now Barcelona head coach Xavi Hernandez is confident that his side will get the job done against Sevilla tonight in the Spanish La Liga after the Catalans drew 2-2 in a midweek encounter in Mallorca.
I think we need to play better, to attack better, but especially we need to focus in defense. I think we concede too much in the last games, especially all the team in defense. So we need to focus because we play against Sevilla. It's a really good team. It's the last winner of Europa League. So it will be tough, it will be difficult, but I think we are ready to compete tomorrow.
Ready to compete tomorrow. Now the game is at 7 p.m. today. That was from Xavi Hernandez. Now to the weekend's Premier League biggest fixture, Liverpool will be playing against Tottenham Hotspur. Head coach for the Reds, Jurgen Klopp, believes that Tottenham Hotspur will be a very tough task, but believes the side will do what is required to grab the needed points.
A really tough test. We played, I can't remember an easy game yet, and we played away at Newcastle, for example. It was a tough test as well. The way Chelsea, obviously, really tough. So the away games so far, they were all, for different reasons, really tough, and the home games were not easy. So, but Tottenham's doing really well. So Ante seems to be a top bloke.
So So that is from Jugin Club. There are other big games coming up this week, and Pep Guardiola will be missing out on 2 players, Rodri and John Stones, and he's also been very quiet about that. Well, that'll be all for sports this evening on Hot Edition.
Many thanks, Kelvin. That's Kelvin Oswan. So the very latest from the world of sports entertainment now. Anita Kufu is here with the very latest as well. Anita, what's in entertainment?
All right, so this morning we started a conversation on what the ruling government is doing with regard to some of the promises they made, and in particular, a theatre being built in the Ashanti region. And so filmmaker spokesperson for the government on creative arts, Socrates Safo, says the government would deliver its 2020 manifesto pledge to construct 5 amphitheatres across the country to serve as venues for performances and other entertainment venues. Socrates, however, failed to give the progress of work with regard to the amphitheatres.
So where are you at the moment? Are you at the foundation level? Are you now digging?
I've not checked as at this morning, but
Okay.
I know that they started it. If you go to Kumasi, they started it. They are building an amphitheater there. We have Tamale, Accra, Kumasi, the Western region.
Mhm.
Yes, Accra, one is coming up in Accra and one will go to Tamale.
Yeah, but if you cannot give us an update on
When you say
progress of work, then that's where it's a little problematic, because at least you should know where we've gotten to at this point.
Yes, we've started something and it's ongoing. We are building it.
But do you think that, to be fair, we have been honest and fair to ourselves within the creative industry with regards to some of these promises that were made?
Yes, if you check from previous governments, from the days of Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, to date, I think NPP has done so well when it comes to the arts in terms of things that we have done.
Like what?
If you look at the infrastructures we have in the arts, the arts and culture sectors, you go to Kakum Forest as we speak, the Kakum Forest you see or you know is not the same today. Even when you talk of the tourism sector, the facilities that we've put up is not the same as it used to be some 10 years back. So we've done a lot. So if you go to even right here in Nkrumah Mausoleum, you can see what we've done there.
And still on this issue, but in April this year, Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Marco Krekumante, cut short for the construction of a 1,000-seater amphitheatre in Kumasi to serve as a venue for performances and other forms of entertainment. The project was expected to be ready by July 2023. And as a follow-up to our earlier conversation on the creative arts industry, TV3 and 3 Entertainment wants to understand how the government has been able to do this and how far they've also come. So our Northern Region Bureau Chief William Evans Inkum visited the site in Kumasi and reports the project is still at the foundation level.
This is just behind the administration block of the Center for National Culture, not within. So if you are looking for it within Culture Center, then you will not find it. We've been able to identify the site for the construction, and it is at the foundation level. In terms of what rate, like I said, well, that would be very difficult for me to actually put a rate to it because of the fact that I am not an expert. But then from where I stand, I can tell you that it should be around, 10% thereabouts because of the fact that they are still laying blocks at the foundation level.
All right, so it's quite an interesting development. We started the conversation this morning on New Day, and we're going heavy on it because, these are things that we expect to be done, especially when there are timelines involved as well. So we'll keep tabs on the entire, project and bring you more updates in our subsequent broadcasts.
Well, when I was on the grounds for the protests, the protest by young people, there were a lot of young artists there who were demanding a lot more from government in relation to the entertainment industry. So it's a conversation that should go on, and we'll see how it goes. Many thanks, Anita, for bringing us the very latest from the world of entertainment. That's how we end this evening's edition of The Bulletin here on 3FM 92.7. As always, a lot more news if you log on to 3news.com. But our top stories this evening: Occupy Julobi protesters in the UK. They've clashed somewhat with pro-government supporters, individuals subsequently identified as members of the governing New Patriotic Party. We've been hearing from the protesters as well as hearing from the Commissioner of Shraj over the lack of an assent to the anti-witchcraft legislation. A lot more news, like I said, on 3news.com. Enjoy the weekend.